Hey guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It helps me get to more people. If you get anything from my work, a mic drop, an epiphany, a light bulb moment, a connect the dot, a new author to read, or a new book to explore, please consider supporting me. The links are down below in the description box. Also, I'm still in depletion. Still here. Haven't moved yet. Still haven't closed on the house. Still waiting. Waiting. I need to get out of here really bad. So any kind of help is Amish mindset. Please help. The Hermit's Journey. I like this book a lot. Why? Because as we go on a hermit journey, a hermit could be somebody that is casted out of society, somebody that feels alone, someone who has fallen in the societal pit of not accepting the narrative with great wisdom and knowledge. In history, most philosophers and most literary geniuses have written about the Hermit's Journey in different forms, different formats. The first episode, we went over the allegory of the cave by Plato and his masterful work, The Republic. Because we're going through that journey right now, taking the shackles off, seeing past the illusions that are casted in the shadows, slowly creeping out of that cave to see the light and the truth of what reality is. And that's the truth that you see inside of yourself. It's the ascension out of the cave into higher consciousness, acknowledging the wrongs, pulling back the curtain, seeing the deception being played out on society's theater. And as we do this, it's a process, and a lot of people right now are walking through that journey. Some of them alone. Though it goes deeper than that. It's not just about this awakening that's happening right now. As a lot of the channelings that I read on this channel and a lot of the content on this channel is to get you out of the one book, to help you see things from different perspectives. But the commentary theme is, what is our universe composed of and what is going on? Especially understanding who you are in totality. We're all given a hermit's journey at some point of our lives. Some of us live that journey our whole lives. I have lived this journey my whole life. I've been cast out and aside. My arrangement with God. Not an easy path by any means. I was adopted and abandoned, taken into a new family with a new identity, shunned for what I am. Not that my parents shunned me, but in the last video I just did, the Rainbow Masters, they talked about the artists, and I happen to be an actual artist. I have a bachelor's degree in fine arts, painting, sculpture, and drawing. And I was told by my father and my mother that I would never make anything of myself. Not because they didn't have faith in me, because the narrative of this world tells us that artists don't make it, that it's 1 in a million that ever hit the jackpot in getting seen, noticed, and discovered. And that needs to change. That narrative needs to twist and change, because people like me, who are very expressive and creative with our outwardly appearance, and just creative in our talents. Doesn't matter if you're an artist as a painter, a sculptor, or a singer, a songwriter, a poet, a seamstress, a clothing designer, an illustrator. You're using the divine creative spark within you. Growing up in this world, being different, has put me into a corner that society has drawn out for me, because creative people never really do make it. I haven't. I've had to go to other devices and other places to look for work. No matter how many hours I could spend on a piece of artwork, that was my happy place. That was my spark of life. That was me being creative. That was me using the love within myself to express. I've shown in small galleries. I've had group shows. I've been in bars and restaurants, fence shows, art fairs, all kinds of fun things. All to just try to make it. I don't think my degree was wasted, because it taught me a lot. And even in art school, I was an outcast. My whole life, I've been outcasted by society because I'm different. I express differently. I think differently. I look upon things differently. And perceptual wise, a lot of people just don't quite get it. I'm not a typical female. My orders of operation are different from others. And I've been in a hermit. And only a very few people in society have ever accepted me in my totality, because they can't really understand me. But some do. Some open up their lives, their hearts, and their minds to my thinking. They might not agree with it, but there's a lot of people in my scenario right now feeling very lonely, ostracized, and out of society. And this is the journey that many of us are taking right now. In Manly Pete Hall's The Way of the Lonely Ones, I'm going to talk about 2 passage essays, short essays that he has done, and why I brought up being an artist comes with the second part. But also my early beginnings. We all have our beginnings. We all have our spark of knowing when it was the moment that we were casted out and put into a corner. Why society rejected us, in whatever form or fashion that it happened in. You don't need to be looking like me to be cast out of society. You could be as normal looking, no matter what age group you belong in. Something about you is different from the rest of the world. Now, more people are rising into that hermit mode for good reason. You're in totality finding your I am presence, your actual God self. I also spoke about that in the Phoenix Journals, the last video I just did. spirit syncs with me, guys. I don't know why or how that happens, but everything that I read happens in a succession of order that they want me to project out. So, gonna roll with it, right? So I can't read this book outright. Copyright laws. But I will talk about it, and I wrote some notes. The beginning of this short story opens up with the civilization taking over the beauty of nature. So it's nature's homage. What happens in society, right? The Indians today happened, well, yesterday happened to be Indigenous Day or Columbus Day. I'm impartial to whatever because in all totality, it was Leif Erikson's day. Because who really just, no one discovered America. America was a land that already existed, that was here on this plane of existence. Oh, Europe just came over here and oh, fuck, there's land over here. Shit, there's no discovery. No one discovered it. It was already fucking. Leif Erikson came over to America, the West, okay, and was like, holy shit, there's land. Fucking found nothing. And as Manly P. Hall would maybe put into an existence, Columbus might have not actually been the person you thought that Columbus was. Just putting that one out there because I honestly, like Shakespeare, believe that it was multiple things. That's just my personal, by the way. But we start off with we are seeing how civilization came in and kind of destroyed nature. And not destroy for necessarily the negative, but now it is because we have the concrete jungle. I live, thankfully, where I am in New York City, in a borough that's known as the Borough of Parks. Like there's land. I have a backyard with nice trees, but it's mostly concrete and high-rise buildings. Like to see New York before it was taken over by that nasty machine, it was probably gorgeous with trees and animals of all the sort taken away. The stripping away of God's grace, running the animal kingdom away into the depths of the forests and mountainous terrain. The raw nature, cruel and glorious, all in one, the sum total. Manly takes us through this wilderness with eloquent words depicting the lands in which an old man in gray cloth dwells. He is one with nature. The hermit cast it out from society, mocked, and legends, stories, fables written about such a mysterious man. A hunter enters the forest where the hermit dwells. No one really ever sees this hermit. But that day, divine intervention intervened. The hunter enters about to kill one of the hermit's animals when the hermit stops him. He converses with the youth, the hunter, about nature and animals, and even walks the youth to his dwelling. The youth, the hunter, recognized how nature took care of the hermit and how he took care of nature. The hunter was amazed at the sight of the simple living and how nature provides all to this hermit. In this meeting that the hermit has with the hunter is young. The hermit's old, wise old man, but he's one with nature. In this small essay, it's described how the animals gave him such love and affection, just like my little angel over here, Morgan, never ever leaves my side. She's always with me unless she's going to the litter box or getting a drink of water. Even my little Ethan, who's an anxious ball, will sit on my lap and keep me warm. They come knowing when I'm in a lot of pain, and they purr to make me feel better. In this, it's telling us about how all the birds, the beasts, the creatures all know and respect this hermit. And even the young hunter is like, how do you survive out here? He's like, nature provides. It doesn't kill them. They give him extra of their nuts, their berries, the figs, the twigs to set fire. They take care of him. And in return, he takes care of them. The hermit walks the youth to his cabin, hovel, whatever you want to call it, his dwelling. Very simple. And he invites him in. And you could see the animal that was about to be killed nuzzling against the hermit through the window. The animal's coming and just hanging and chilling out with the hermit in a very simple dwelling, giving him just enough shelter from the elements. That impression alone was a big one for this young hunter. He marveled at the power of nature. And when you're in the vibration of nature, the oneness with it all, the vibratory frequency of love, compassion, how everything changes. And he admired it. He didn't know. Society told him to go in the woods and kill for food. But he learned a whole different type of lesson that day. Be within oneself and be one with nature. It was getting dark. The hunter walks back into his village to later on, a few years later, goes back into the forest, remembering the large impact the hermit had impressed upon him. The wisdom and wise words expressed in the heart and soul of this hunter, now more mature, with wider eyes to see the truths of society. He stumbles upon the dwelling the hermit lived and saw the dead body of the hermit. Pale and cold. Yet nature mourned with the sky's dark gray clouds. The animals were also in mourning, leaving nuts, berries, saying their goodbyes to the physical vessel that once was the hermit. This is where the legends are made out of. Frog in my throat. The atmosphere of the mountains changed that day. The clouds, the rain, the wind. The atmosphere was mourning the loss of the one who kept nature in balance. The village spoke about this. They didn't know what was happening. They never seen such atmospheric changes before. So they knew something was wrong. The young hunter, now matured, saw the beauty of nature and the connection nature has with this man, and decided to pledge himself to take up the hermit role, where nature would learn to mesh with nature and become the man of the mountain. Nature gave the new energy time to harness the new energy of the soul, the new hermit. The animals had to get used to this new youth, now old, but older, still mature, but they had to get used to his vibrations and his frequencies, and he had to learn theirs. He had to learn the way of nature, how to treat the animals. What did the animals need? What could he do with the birds, different from the squirrels, the foxes, the mountain lions? How did the hermit escape death from all these creatures, especially the predators? Because he had the vibration and the frequency and the zero fear to confront each and every one of those beasts and predators. And nature provided him the strength and the perseverance to get through each of those encounters. So, what can you take away from this small story? How can you become the hermit in the woods? All wise, all knowing about nature, communing and connecting to the animal kingdom, the vegetable kingdom. They're all one and the same, guys. They're all essence. If you read Dolores Cannon's work, you once were the rock, the tree, the sprout, the shoot, the flower, the vegetable, the mineral, the water, the fire, the air. Your soul essence was every one of those things. And then you moved up into the animal world, the insect world, until your cycles were over and you came into human. It's all a procession of life cycles. We all have life cycles. We all come here. And when you learn nature and the ways of nature and how to become one with nature, you're never going to be alone. Even though it's not a person to converse with, you have animals giving you unconditional love and appreciation because they need you as much as you need them. So what did you take away? Where are you in your hermit journey? Are you stopping those hunters from killing, from taking over the land? Are you grounding in nature? Are you going in nature and grounding and meditating and becoming one with Mother Earth, with Mother Gaia, Mother Terra? Are you becoming one with them? Because in order to understand your I am presence, your I am self in totality and actualizing it, you need a journey into nature. You need to know the ways of the land. Wherever you inhabit, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go get lost in the woods of Vermont in order for you to understand and comprehend the totality of what nature really is and the role that you play with it. So write in the comments. I want to know, what did you get from this? if you're on this hermit's journey. The next short story, The Maker of the Gods, is what I was talking about with being an artist. It's a very fascinating short essay, short story. But we could take a lot away from this. So this person, this artist, is in society, but he has abilities. What happens with people with abilities? We'll find out. The creator, the artist, giving the spark of life into a material blueprint and bringing things to life. In this story, the divine angelic. A potter made all kinds of clay pots and ceramic creations. People love the pots and creations, but he prayed amongst a creation that he made. So he was making vessels for water, urns, and all different types of pots that everybody loved. Put them in the kiln, made some designs. People really loved his work. But he was by himself and did this work by himself. On the side, on his spare time, he made some creations. We all do as artists. I do I do a main piece and then I'll just, something else comes to mind and I'll start whipping something else up. Happens. But he was making forms, humanish forms. He prayed amongst this creation, the first one that he made. A form he did not like his other work. He used the power of his intention in prayer. The clay took a divine angelic form. The potter did a few more, each time creating another spark of life from the divine. People got wind of this because when this form took life, the light essence and being in physicality came down on this creation, and up came an angelic form with wings. You can call that the archangel for all that you can visualize. And some people caught wind of this and saw it actually happen and take place in physicality. And they were in awe of this ability. And I'm going to quote from this. There's a bunch of quotes from here, because it's that profound that I don't want to change anything and lose its meaning. Quote, all men who come into the world are potters, molding from their own clay the sacred ornaments of their father's house. Into the pots and urns which they mold are poured the waters of life. But those whose souls are the urns molded on the potter's wheel of life, the endless wheel of birth and death, those whose cups are fired by the flame of suffering. They are the master potters of all. For from their own dead clay, they shall mold gods, whose spreading wings shall protect them from the terrors of darkness. End quote. So here again, we have the cycle of life. The potter makes the vessel for water and the urn to take it in. The dead remnants of what we become after we die, if we're not torched and cremated, we still become dust or food for the worms. Either way, it's the life cycle. And we are potters. We do mold our life. We mold our reality. Although we forget upon incarnation, our mission here, our arrangement with God, why we have purpose here, we forget all of those things. But at the end of the day, we are the potter of our lives. We mold, create, and form things. We give it fire, the divine spark. The people were looking in amazement to the angelic form and thanked the potter, then ascended to the light. So one of the creations he made, he was doing it in public because people are questioning this potter. What the fuck are you doing? And he showed them what he did. A person spoke asking the potter, quote, "Oh, Father, since you can form these wondrous beings of life which soar straight upwards to the footstool of the Almighty, why do you stay in darkness here below? If you can produce these forms, celestial, you are indeed a god yourself. Fashion wings for yourself and fly upward also, for you must be a god." End quote. The potter replied, "In such a humble way, we need to examine more." Quote, "My son, I am not a god. I am only one who molds clay. I am a maker of gods, but am myself a creature of the earth." End quote. How profound is that? It's like us. We are spiritual spirits, essences, souls, having a human experience. We are fractals of the all creator. We mold and shape our lives, the experience, so God can express itself through us with this form we inhabit now. How profound is that? We're fractals of God. We make up the sum totality of God. We're all expressions of God. Each creation made is a different individualized creation. And in your uniqueness is expressing what God wants you to express. Each one of us is a point of light. We make up a humongous grid across this plane of existence. Each one of us has a special ability and different abilities, all combined together is God. He's creative. He's a maker, co-creator, because he's birthing into an existence an angelic form from his artwork, from his creative spark, from his I am presence. He's creating. He's bringing into life, into birth, something, a creation. It doesn't need to come alive. He's birthing something. Each one of your thoughts, and each time you express it in the material world, is a creation. That's why I named my channel what I did. Because I'm birthing ideas, I'm birthing in existence things, ideas, expressions of myself into the ether. All creations. whether it be physical or electrical. This is another example of a hermit. Not necessarily casted out from society, but society in this short essay kind of looked at him and they're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm scared of what you're doing. And they had to witness it themselves in order to understand the totality of what he was doing, the intention that he had, praying over this angelic statue that he made. And it became light. It became essence, celestial. God showed him. So what are you taking away from this in your journey? What are you birthing into existence? What are you creating in existence? We have to be one with nature. We have to understand nature in order to understand ourselves, because we all came from nature. We all came from the material. What are you birthing into existence? We're all birthing something into an existence in materialism, in the material world. What are you creating? Being a hermit is a very lonely journey, but a very fulfilling one if you know how to work with nature and work with your creative spark that God gave you. What are you doing? When you're creative, you're using the I am presence. You're drawing in the ascended masters to give you more insights. You have an empty blank canvas in front of you. You can choose any colors you want, right? You're doing an abstract piece, by the way. You're not looking at crap in the middle of the room and giving your take on it, right? That's being creative, but whipping something up from just what is in your mind is a huge challenge for a lot of people. What would you put on your canvas if you couldn't look at reality and draw inspiration from it? You had to do it from up here. The painting that I have as my thumbnail came from here. Didn't come from anything else. What are you bringing into creativity, into existence? Are you a poet? Are you drawing inspiration from the thoughts in your mind? Are you a songwriter? It's okay to take inspiration from outside forces, don't get me wrong. But the challenge is to just do it from here. So I challenge everybody. If you're home alone, feeling like you don't have an outlet, start being creative. It's frustrating, very frustrating. But if you draw inspiration from yourself and go inside, what can you achieve? You can achieve a lot. Use your creative spark to help guide yourself. Because when you can master those things, when you can become yourself in totality, with your authenticity, your sovereignty, and your authority, you're becoming more of the I am presence. You're becoming more aligned with source and creator. The Hermit's Journey is not for everybody. And yes, we do emerge into society here and there. I do. I had to work. I had to be amongst people. But I was always casted aside. I was never given the appreciation or the respect that I believed I deserved for doing all the hard work that most people wouldn't do. But I don't fold into narratives. I break narratives. And that's what we need to do. We're creating this new world, and we are coming out of our hibernation, our hermit status, with all the wise knowledge of nature and how to commune with nature and how to be creative. You know, we emerged out of the cave, and now society is changing. The paradigm is flipping. Everything is in reverse. There's reversals happening. The old is dying out. So who is here to build up the new society? Who is going to be here with the wisdom, the fortitude, the patience to start a better world? The hermits, because they sat back and analyzed society, understood the dynamics didn't fit their narrative, and decided to go in there doing their own thing. And maybe now their own thing and whatever it is that you do would benefit society, because they need to shape and form this world into a better one. And who better is the people that knew that that old narrative didn't work for them? And that's us. So I figured doing these two stories would be very interesting and very enriching, because this is what we're going to have to do in order to make our new world happen and bring it into manifestation, into the physicality that we live. We should not be bound by idols, by anybody telling us that we're not good enough. We are, in our own light, in our own way. No one should be on a pedestal. All artists should be recognized and given a chance. That doesn't happen in society, right? You could see the people, even on YouTube, who really work hard and just the results never come for them. But why? Maybe the wise old hermit could be a mentor to somebody. Just like for the young hunter. The hermit gave him wise advice. The hermit took him under his wing, shared his secrets, shared how he works with nature, how nature helps him and he helps nature. He gave him examples. Maybe some of us, the old crones, the old hermits of this age, not that I'm old, I'm not, my soul is. Maybe we could be the way showers for the youth, so that those mistakes that we fell victim to don't happen again. We still have an opportunity to become the artists and creators that we want to be. But we have to show and guide and make a way for the youth to come into this world with the best examples possible. Not by a school, not by a classroom, by people with wisdom and gained knowledge and understanding. So I ask all of you who feel the way that I do, if someone comes along your path that feels very similar to you, take them under your wing. Give them your advice. Give them your story. Walk them through the cave. Show them the shadows. Show them what treating nature really means. Go for a walk. I used to do nature walks. I used to run in nature. I ground in nature. I pay homage to the trees. What are you doing? How can you help somebody? Especially those who feel the way you do. There's a lot of children nowadays that feel very much alone, not just adults. There's a lot of children that self-express differently. There's a lot of children with abilities that are shunned by their families because that's not socially acceptable in society. There's many artists who get shunned. Oh, you can't go to art school because you're not going to make it. You're not going to make anything of yourself. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to be able to feed yourself. I'm in that boat right now, starving artist. But is that correct? Is that how you talk to somebody? Is that how you uplift somebody? Is that how you help somebody? By demeaning someone's talent is going to further away put them into a hermit status. Not to say again that the spiritual journey of a hermit is a bad thing. We all analyze society, see the wrongs that are happening, have a bigger picture because we're taking the step back. Just like an artist, you're looking back at a humongous painting, looking at the composition, looking at the negative spaces, looking at everything in totality. But you can't do that when you're right up against the painting, looking at the teeny brushstrokes. You got to take this step back and analyze what's there and what you're looking at. And many people are starting to do that and taking that step back. But then they get sucked right back towards that canvas. We have to take a step back sometimes in life in order to understand what is happening around us, to see what the narratives are happening. What steering this society is nothing but sheer evil. A system made up of corruption, made up of a class system, made up to put certain people down in society. That all needs to change. And the hermits must rise out of the cave and share the truth and the light that's within inside them. So how are you walking your lonely path? Are you actually lonely? We have a team upstairs. I'm lonely in the physical. But that's okay. Because soon, maybe within the next 5 years, many of us are going to emerge back out of the cave because we already made it out of the cave and the light shone down on us. And we have a lot of knowing and wisdom to share with everybody. Many of us are transitioners to help people understand and make sense out of the things that are going to come to this world. And in the meantime, as a hermit, work with nature. Become one with nature and yourself. Be creative. Be daring. Be expressive. Be yourself. Be you. Do you. Find a creative spark. Create something out of your mind, not using reality and what's around you. The first thing that pops on your head. Take up a new hobby. Learn something new. Do it for yourself and by yourself. See the perseverance you have and the personal pride you're going to have when you're finished. Whether that's building something, making something, be proud of it, because that creation came from you. Be that spark of inspiration for somebody else who probably is going through a very similar rough time. Some people don't self-express in words that they're in a hermit mode or feeling alone. A lot of people are ashamed of expressing that to the world. You know, we sit back in our computers and are on our phones, and there's a lot of pain and suffering happening in this world right now. Be the strong hermit that you are. You never know who you're going to impact. You never know whose heart you're going to touch. You never know who you're going to save. There are many people on a cliff right now, not knowing, not having the inner will or strength to push forward. But just like the cave, when you see the shadows and you see what they're casting, and who's casting the shadows, start emerging a stronger, wiser human. Your soul grows. And the journey won't become so lonely anymore. So I hope you enjoyed those 2 short stories in my words, but ones that really need to be expressed. Because in reality, it really flows with what I just put out earlier today. The Rainbow Masters, the 7 Magnificents, the Phoenix Journal. And it speaks on a lot of the spiritual work that is put out there. There's a lot of people who have had a lot of experiences in different totalities and in different realities. But the common theme is that a lot of us feel alone. A lot of us are shunned out of society for having those thoughts, thinkings, feelings, expressions, because we're the wolf leading the pack. We're the wise ones. We're the ones that see the world differently because the world does need to change. And the ways that we're thinking about our world and our little universe that we inhabit are probably the healthier versions of what needs to happen for everybody. So let's impact society. Let's walk through the cave together and release those who would like to take those shackles off once and for all. And slowly, with the wisdom of nature and the creative spark that God gave us, give them the steps and the hand to lift them up. They have to do the work. They have to go through it too. But you can be the guiding star and the light for them to walk toward and be the inspiration. And our time is coming soon. So write in the comments, what do you think? What are you going through? Don't be shy. And if you have a story you would like to share with me privately, you can always email me. That link is in the description box as well. Sending each and every one of you love and light. Be persistent. Have perseverance. Things are going to change. And it's going to be okay. Hope to see you on the next one. Should be really good. It's my favorite philosopher. And I'm not going to stop reading and going over this. I want to switch it up a little bit. But you're going to have to come back in order to find out more. See you on the next one, guys.